Hello everybody, welcome along to Hockenheim as we get set for what's going to be the first of 3 races this weekend. This is an additional race that's been added late on to the calendar. It's due to the fact we only were able to get 1 race in at the Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago, and the drivers are going to line up for this race in championship positions. So it's going to be the 10th race of the season. It's the BMW M2 Cup 2022. My name's Chris Hartley. I'm standing in for Dave Richardson this weekend and about to enjoy with yourselves what's going to be a cracking 30-minute plus 1 lap race here at the 4.7 kilometre long circuit at Hockenheim. So there is your championship leader, number 43, Fabian Crime, who's got 155 points. He's had so far this year 3 race wins, 2 in the very first weekend of the season at the Lazitz Ring, and then his last win came 2 events ago at Spa-Francorchamps. But that is the man that's been catching him up of late, number 54 in the green car this weekend, which is Maxime Osten. He's on 149 points now, only 6 points behind, and there are 20 points available for each race win this weekend, plus potentially a bonus point for the fastest lap of the weekend. So they're the top 2 on the grid. Lawrence Stegman is the driver, 3rd in the standings on 97 points, 58 adrift. He technically could still win the championship. It's a long shot, 66 points still available. He still has the potential to do so. Robert Heffler there is just behind him as well, only 1 point adrift of Stegman on 96 points, so he technically could win the championship as well, but they would need Fabian Crime and Maxime Osten to have disastrous weekends for Lawrence Stegman and Robert Heffler. Both have fantastic weekends to get themselves in the championship fight, but it's motorsport, you never quite know. So a slightly different format this weekend with this additional race on Friday. And as I say, starting in the championship order for this one. And then after this, later on today, they'll have qualifying, which will set the grid for the 2 races on Saturday and Sunday. So Fabian Crime, Maxime Osten on the front row of the grid. Lawrence Stegman and Robert Heffler on row 2. And then it's Bart Horston, the ex-single-seater racer, competed in British F4 and British F3, has come into Tintop Racing and the BMW M2 Cup. The Australian was on it in practice this morning, and he starts 5th with Mark David Muller alongside in 6th. Mikhail Makesh had dramas in free practice this morning. I spoke to him after he only did 1 lap in the session. That was because he had a broken diff on the car, so the differential broke, and so he hadn't got any laps of running at all in the free practice session, apart from 1 slow lap with a problem with the car. But he has raced here before, so he said, at least I haven't got to worry about that. They're all having to race on the tyres in which they practice, so lots of the drivers limited the amount of running they did in that practice session. But quite a lot of laps done for Fabian Crime, because he's never raced here before, he tells me. So he said it was tricky because I wanted to look after the tyres, but I also needed to get some laps under my belt to try and get my head around the circuit. It was a very late appearance in the free practice session this morning from his main championship rival, Maxime Osten, who only came out for about 10 minutes towards the end of the session, but did set the fastest time of the session. We've also got the Rookie Championship, which is being fought for between Lawrence Stegman, who lines up on the 2nd row of the grid, and Bart Horston, who's just behind him, and Mikhail Makesh as well, also in the mix. They've got 136, 124 and 120 points respectively. We've also got Jon O'Dow on 110 points that still has a chance of the rookie title as well, in which there's still 60 points up for grabs. So drivers make their way around the circuit on the formation lap. Track temperature has risen since they were out. There are very first cars on the track this morning, so there's a lot more rubber been laid down since free practice. Track temperature has gone up. It's pretty warm for the time of year. It's 25 degrees, the track temperature. The air temperature is 18 degrees. That track temperature is about 8 or 9 degrees warmer than it was for them during the course of the free practice session this morning. Free practice session times were topped, as I say, by Maxime Osten, who lines up the Dutchman on the front row of the grid. Did a 1 minute 52.829 this morning, and that was nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than one of the 4 guest drivers that we've got this weekend, which is the South African driver qualifying, or free practice rather. He was 2nd quickest, Leighton Fourie, who did a 1:53.111. So his first time at Hockenheim, very impressive from Leighton, former VW Polo Cup champion in South Africa. Lucky to follow in the footsteps of his heroes Sheldon van der Linde and Kelvin van der Linde both also came up through that championship route. But it's all about the BMW M2 Cup. 30 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. They're all lined up on the grid. Just 6 points between the top 2 in the championship. These 365 brake horsepower cars about to be unleashed in the first of 3 races this weekend. Here we go then. Red lights on. We're about to go racing for the first time this weekend. They go out. Fabian Krime with a good getaway here after a tremendous battle at the Red Bull Ring with Maxime Oosten. He's going to head him into the first corner here as they go through, and no dramas just behind either, although I think it's going to be a position lost for Robert Heffler in the blue 53 car. He's going to slip back here and drop himself down potentially to 5th place because he's got Bart Horsten trying to come around the outside of him. It's Fabian Krime that's going to lead though as they go through turn 2. Now head towards the Parabolica. Maxime Oosten though, who put some really good aggressive late braking moves on him to win that race at the Red Bull Ring. He's looking menacing in the mirrors. There in 3rd place, watching it all go on like he did for much of the race at the Red Bull Ring, is Lawrence Stegman, and behind, leading the next group of cars, Robert Heffler just about held on to that 4th place, but only for now, because into one of the key overtaking spots they come, side by side on the brakes. Oosten on the outside, can't get through there, but can he get the better run, better traction coming out of the corner? He's on the curbs to try and do so, side by side between the top 2 of the championship. Every single point is going to count. He's going to be on the outside for the next turn. So Fabian Krime should be there, but left-hander coming up, and he's okay. He's got the line covered, and he'll hold on to the lead of the race. As we've got 4th and 5th, side by side, and there's Bart Horsten going down the inside, and there's a big contact further back as missing the braking point was Sean Fuster. Took a couple of drivers with him, and the one that's stranded there on the track is Mark David Muller, I'm afraid, in the 22 car. Other cars were contacted on the way through. So big drama in the midfield as number 7, Tom Littell, gets through on Bart Horsten. So Bart, in trying to get 4th, has actually ended up losing a place on that lap, down to 6th position after what was a good start off the line. And then nose to tail it is for 2nd and 3rd place as they come towards Sud Curve and the exit to the Sachs Curve. Just a little rise in the track there. Go through the right-hand kink into the Sud Curve of the top 3. 4th, 5th and 6th nose to tail as well. Bart Horsten, who was really on it, as I said, through the arena section, and really pushing the limits of the track into the gravel trap a couple of times. Bart, it was pretty spectacular to watch in that free practice session. But despite the good start, he's going to have to settle for 6th place at the end of the opening lap of the race. 1 or 2 running out wide at turn 1, which is a place where you've got to be careful not to go over the curbs, over the white lines, and get warnings for track limits. That can result in time penalties being added to you as the race goes on. So have to be a little bit careful there, just to stay within the boundaries of the circuit. But Krime, Oosten and Stegman, the top 3 at the end of that first lap. Here is a replay then from that first lap of the race, side by side down into the hairpin as Oosten tried to get around the outside, went all on the curbs, way out wide there, kicked up the dust, but just holding his nerve, holding the line there in the 43 car was Fabian Krime, even though he, at one point, I think the green machine of Oosten had just nosed in front, but he always knew he was going to have the line into the right-hander and held that position. And then look at the yellow car here, just missing his braking point and bang, right into the back of number 22, Mark David Muller. And causing dramas as well for one of the key rookie championship contenders. Jarno Doe got sidelined in all of that as well and didn't come through, or it was right at the back of the field when he rejoined. So that's a big shame for the driver of car number 14 as we get the top 3 heading back there, and the gap's coming down a little bit from 1st to 2nd on this lap. Quickest second sector time has gone to Mikael Makesh, who's done a good job here on this second lap. He's in 7th place at the moment. Remember, he didn't get any running really in free practice. He's trying to come up the order. And there is Bart Horsten gaining a place, trying to rather keep off Makesh in the 47 carts right behind him. Mikael Makesh, who's come from TCR Racing, front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive cars as he comes into the BMW Cup. But he said it hasn't been a drama to get used to the cars. Heavier cars that he's used to, but he's really enjoyed the championship so far. He's in the 47 car, flashing his lights right onto the tail of Bart Horsten, who's trying to hang on to this 6th place. Tom Littell, number 7, just ahead of them, is just inching away at the gap at the head of the field, down slightly to just under 0.3 of a second now. And look at this in the background as the 47 car goes left, goes right, tries to find a gap. But Makesh not quite able to find a way through as yet. Sean Fuster, despite that dramatic moment, has carried on in the first of the bright yellow cars. He's number 11 and he's in 9th place, but he's got coming after him one of the Kreuzpointner twins. Number 21 is Jacqueline. He looked pretty rapid in the free practice session this morning as Osten comes alongside again, the race leader in the green 54 car. But again, Fabian Kreim, former rally driver, 3-time German rally champion. Now, though, the gap is opened up. He's got the inside line here, and Maxime Osten has got to go for this, and he does, and he gets the lead of the race. So the driver second in the championship moves into first place, but Fabian Kreim tries to come back at him. Left-hander coming up, though, and the green machine should be able to stay ahead. So that was a nicely worked-out move. He tried it on the first lap of the race. It didn't quite work, but it has worked on lap 3. And more action further back, 46 and 21 coming together. 46 is Leighton Forey coming together with the 21 car of Jacqueline Kreuzpointner, who's sent into a half spin. They should be able to recover, but they'll lose a load of time and several positions as they come out wide now and into the Sachs curve of the top 3 with a new race leader, Maxime Osten, at the head of the field. Some tremendous moves he pulled off with Fabian Kreim. It was really good, close, clean racing at the Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago. And that was another example of the respect between these top 2 championship contenders. Here's a replay of this move as Leighton Forey just clipped the left rear corner. Well, pretty hardly clipped it, actually, and sent Kreuzpointner into the spin. And then out of the race, it is for him, I'm afraid, joining Jarno Doe, who was out on the first lap with a similar-looking incident. So Forey and Doe out of the race. Jarno Doe will be really, really frustrated with that, but he's got 2 more races to try and catch up in the rookie points. Side by side, Tom Nittel maybe about to lose a place here to number 50, Bart Horston. Bart's got the inside line, he's got the nose in front of the number 50 car, and is just going to squeeze his way through, but he was made to work hard for it by the number 7 of Tom Nittel, and that's drawn back onto their tail. Look, the number 47 car of Mikael Marques, who has got the better run here on the run down towards the hairpin of the 47 car. Is he lining up a move? Is he going to dive down the inside of Tom Nittel? I think the answer is not quite. Tucks back in behind because Nittel is pretty late on the brakes as well. Bart Horston at the head of the field, the 20-year-old from Sydney, who actually lives in the UK in Toaster. But way out wide goes Tom Nittel onto the grass with 2 wheels, loses traction, loses the place to Bart Horston. So Horston now goes to the head of that queue. That's 5th, 6th and 7th you are looking at. Osten, Kreim, Stegman and Heffler, the top 4. You can just see the tail end of the blue 53 car of Heffler. It's about a second or so clear of what's becoming a pretty ferocious battle here between Horston and Nittel. He got that moment on the grass, but has gathered his thoughts together now pretty nicely. And Tom Nittel, the German driver, also 20 years of age, son of former rally driver Uwe Nittel, is getting back on it in the number 7 car as they head back towards the braking zone for the Sachs curve. And here comes Marques looking down the inside. He looks quicker than the pair of them, but he can't quite find a way through, the Czech driver. There's also one of the rookies involved in the championship this year, the 22-year-old from Prague. And at the head of the field, it's been a really good lap this for the new race leader from a lap and a half ago, Maxime Osten, because he's about to set the fastest lap of the race again for a second consecutive lap. 1 minute 53.662 seconds. He's now almost a second clear of his championship contender and the championship leader just about at the moment, Fabian Kreim. So that bonus point, if he can keep it for the fastest lap of the race, will be mega useful, given how tight it is at the top of the championship standings. Here we go again, this battle still raging on for 5th, 6th and 7th between Australian Bart Horston, number 50, Tom Nittel, number 7, and Mikael Marques, number 47. Bart Horston, who started out his career in single-seaters, racing in the British Formula 4 Championship, where he was a race winner at Donington Park, finished 5th in the Championship 3 years ago in 2019, then raced in Formula 3 in the UK for a couple of seasons and was a front-runner in the GB3, essentially a Formula 3 championship that's run in the UK last year, but moving to a very different kind of racing and doing a good job is Bart Horston in the mix, in the fight for that rookie championship title, and pulling away now on this lap from Tom Nittel. You can see he's just given himself about a 2-car length advantage. Mikael Marques, who's still really enjoying his first few laps of this circuit, having had to suffer sitting on the sidelines for the vast majority of free practice with that diff problem. He's doing a good job as well in the 47 car. So flashing past the wall, flashing past the camera of the leaders. And watch Robert Heffler as well in 4th place, the pale blue car, on a personal best lap here. He's matching the times of those ahead, and he might just be inching up towards the tail of Stegman. Here's a battle a bit further back for 12th place, which has got Muller gaining a place back on Aaron Venish in the number 12 car. So 22 Muller Had contact earlier in the race, coming through, getting up the order, flashing his lights. His next target is going to be number 24, Senna van Solen, one of the guest drivers, who's currently sat in 11th place. So about 1/3 of the way through the race now. Battles all the way down through the field. These very equally matched cars. All the drivers switch cars every weekend. They're allotted randomly. The idea is that it's all down to the driver. It's a level playing field. The series managed by Jörg Michaelis, founded by Hans Bernd Kamps of Project One fame. And here another of those battles further down the order. In 8th place we've got Sean Fuster, number 11, and one of the guest drivers is Colin Berninghausen, who's right on his tail. And there, Alessia Kreutzpoint, number 15, has got Senna van Solen all over the back of her at the moment in the 24 car. Senna, another driver with karting pedigree, showing his nose and was pretty competitive last time out at the Red Bull Ring. And look at this, Mikesh having to go up the inside here. He's almost alongside, he's almost in front of Tom Nittel. Nittel sent way out wide coming out of the hairpin. And that's going to be a place gain for the number 47 car. And that will put him up into the top 6 now. If he can just hold it through this right-hander, which he does. Tom Nittel still trying to hang on here, though. He comes back at him with a super late bit of out-braking. Is he too late on the brakes, though? Goes deep, goes wide. And yeah, he just couldn't make the corner. So it's a brave attempt, but he just carried a bit too much speed into the corner. Couldn't get it turned in time. And in the end, it's Mikesh that comes through to pick up 6th place. But he needed to do that because already, look, Bart Horston has left them. He's a 2.5 clear in the number 50 car, running in 5th place. Battle you're watching now is for 10th place between Alessia Kreutzpoint, a good top 6 finish at the Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago, Senna van Solen, and trying to come back up the order, the 22 car of Mark David Muller. Muller there, the white car, the red flashes on the front. And he is on the money at the moment. Car looks to be absolutely flying and just drives past the 24 car of Senna van Solen and gets the place. That puts him now up into 11th position in the race. And he might be gaining another one soon because he looks quicker at the moment than the driver ahead of him. The number 15 car of Sean Fuster has come into the pits. So into the pits has come the number 11 car from 9th place. That might be related to damage potentially from the earlier incident on the opening lap of the race. Alessia Kreutzpoint, and then number 15 with mirrors full then of the 22 car, which goes right, which goes left, which can't find a way through just yet, but he'll try and cut back on the exit here now, try and get the power down as quickly as he can and accelerate down through the parabolica. Absolutely flat out now, all the way to the hairpin, almost trying to come back at him. Look, it's the number 24 car of Senna van Solen as well. So 9th, 10th and 11th, this battle that's going on. At the head of the field, the gap growing all the time from first to second. It's now 2.3 seconds. Stegman, though, in 3rd place, has got Robert Heffler for company because the gap between them is just about half a second now. Here they are in cars 99 and 53, respectively. Lawrence Stegman has had 3 podium finishes this year, trying to get his 4th here. 2 seconds at a third. The 2 second places have come in the last 2 weekends as well at Spa. And a very good 2nd place at the Red Bull Ring. It was a considered drive from Laurent Stegman. He watched the 2 leaders battle it out, sat behind them, dropped back a little bit in the middle of the race, then came back at them and got, crucially, in between the pair of them. As way out wide goes Senna van Solen, number 24 car. We've already got 22, Muller ahead of Kreutzpoint now. So Muller up to 9th place now, the 22 car. Kreutzpoint number 15 down to 10th. Van Solen trying everything to try and get that car, number 24 machine, ahead of the 15 car, but for now it's not happening. The only Kreutzpointner left in the race, because we lost Jacqueline now, who's retired from the race. Good news for Sean Fuster, though. He's been able to get back out, so he is at least in the race, albeit down in 14th position now, and a long way down the order. Last of the remaining runners. So nose to tail, Senna van Solen here doing a really impressive job, and a bit wild at times, a bit over the limits, but he is almost onto the tail now and in striking distance, perhaps when they get down to the hairpin, to have a go at Kreutzpointner to try and get himself into 9th place. As for the front runners in the championship, the gap 2.6 seconds. Last lap, the best lap of the race for Maxime Van Oosten, 153.642, 154.4, which is 3/4 of a second slower for Fabian Krime. But he is quicker than the 2 behind, so 2nd place looks okay for now. Senna van Solen flashes the headlights here and again tries to put pressure on Kreuzpointner for that 10th place. Third and fourth at the front of your shot here. The gap comes down and down and down. So battle here for the final podium position. Robert Heffler, remember, is only 1 point behind Laurens Stegman for third place in the championship, and he's behind him at the moment. So the gap would grow as it stands, and Heffler will be well aware of that as Van Solen's found the inside line and gets through. As he comes into the arena section towards the end of the lap, gains the place. So the number 24 car then moving up into 10th place now. Alessia Kreuzpointner out of the top 10. And Muller, who overtook both of them, look, he's away with the number 22 car, but he is quite a long way behind 8th place, which is Colin Berninghausen. There's about 6 seconds between them, and he, on that last lap, wasn't quite as quick. A replay of the move then, which you just saw from Senna Van Solen to get himself up into the top 10. Nicely done, brave stuff, and fair driving that from Alessia Kreuzpointner, the former GT4 racer. The second season of the championship in the BMW M2 Cup. Right, Bart Horsten has gradually been reeled in here by Michael Marques, the Czech driver. He's now almost within striking distance and going for it straight away. Halfway alongside, thought about it, but Bart Horsten's very good on the brakes. The Australian, though, runs a bit wide now to come out of turn 2. Car 22 under investigation for overtaking under yellows, which is Muller, who's in that 9th place, as we concentrate now the battle for 5th place between Horsten and Marques. And Marques has got the bit between his teeth here, but Bart Horsten knows exactly what's coming, so he just sends the car across to the inside to cover the line on the way into the hairpin. But tight in means wide out, and that might be an opportunity under acceleration for the 47 car. Marques to draw alongside. It's exactly what he tries to do. Gets on the power as quickly as he can, unleashes 365 brake horsepower in the M2. But Bart Horsten is far enough ahead and wise enough to just about be able to keep that position. So the 50 car remains for now in 5th place. They're pushing each other hard. They're not that far behind that battle for 3rd place either. In fact, the quickest driver from 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th was the one at the tail of the group, 47 on that last lap, Marques. So if these two don't hold each other up, another lap or two, it's going to be a 4-way fight for the final spot on the podium, which could be a real treat for us going into the last 10 minutes or so of the race. Keep at it. I think that's definitely going to be the case, because the longer it goes on, the more number 99 Laurens Stegman is going to start to get defensive against Robert Heffler in that blue 53 car. Didn't have the best of starts off the line, but crucially held on to his 4th place through the first lap. So they come through the Sud curve now. The leaders have gone through. The gap's grown to 3.555 seconds. Maybe Fabian Crime's lack of knowledge of this circuit is starting to play against him now. He's done plenty of laps this morning in free practice, but he hasn't got the race experience around here, and that could be the difference. Right, Marques having another look here. And Michael Marques to the outside because the inside line is covered. He'll try and cut back, but look, he's a bit too far back, I think. Couple of lengths back, although Bart Horsten does run deep through turn 2, then runs wide, heading towards the parabolica. He's on the curbs. This might be a chance. He's going to have to be around the outside at the hairpin, but it's as close as he's been here for Marques. Absolutely fantastic racing between these two. Wait for the brake lights to come on. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers here as they go side by side down towards the hairpin? Horsten's got the line, but the momentum is with the 47 car of Marques. Horsten holds on to it for now, trying to come back up the inside of him on the gas, though, is Marques, and he might just have his foot in the door here. This is his best chance to come through and finally get himself into 5th place. He's got to go for it. Is there going to be enough room? And the answer is no, because Bart Horsten bravely hangs on around the outside. They give each other enough room. Careful not to outbrake each other into the next corner, but that was all nicely done by Bart Horsten. But of course, as soon as they fight each other, look, the two ahead have got away very rapidly. All over the curbs in the background. Michael Marques really pushing on. Actually had his nose in front at the start of the lap as they went over the timing beam, but it was always Horsten in control. Look how ragged they are, though, coming over the curbs and coming into the Sachs curve as we look now to the battle just ahead of them for 3rd place between 3rd and 4th in the championship. Well, unofficially, the gap between the top two at the moment is going to come down. It's going to halve, because Horsten is going to get 20 points if he wins this race, plus a point at the moment for the fastest lap of the race. That's 21, and 18 for 2nd place to Crime. He's 6 in front by my maths, and this is all unofficial. He'll be 3 in front with 2 races to go tomorrow and on Sunday. And of course, there's qualifying later on as well, where you can score 3 points if you qualify in pole position. So It could come down to a very, very minimal amount of points by the time we get to tomorrow. Maxime Osten looking absolutely in control at the head of the field. Crime in second. Looks good for that position. Stegman, Heffler, a big fight for third. Horston and Makesh trying to go with them, but just lost out when they held each other up on the previous lap. They've all left Tom Nittell behind now in seventh. And good job being done by Colin Boninghausen in the number 55 car, one of the guest drivers. He's currently in 8th place. As side by side go the battle for third place here. Heffler on the gas, desperately trying to draw alongside here, the 22-year-old. He's another son of an ex-rally driver. Started his career in karts, then raced in the Suzuki Swift Cup. Got picked up by a talent scouting agency in Hungary, and the Hungarian in the 53 car looks slightly quicker than his rival Lawrence Stegman here, but Stegman has got track position at the moment in the 99 car. Made his debut at the end of last season at the Norris Ring. Had a best finish of 10th in that one weekend he did in 2021. Robert Heffler, but he's had a full and strong season this year. The top two have been getting all the wins between them. 5 wins for Osten and 3 for Crime, but these two have picked up plenty of podiums. Look how he got on the power here, but when you get on the power and you're that tight through the corner, back end just wants to oversteer out. It's very hard to get the traction down. So it was nicely played that by Lawrence Stegman in the 99 car. Did just enough to keep the blue machine at bay. But don't be surprised if they get into another fight in the final 10 minutes, and don't be surprised if the two behind join the party as well. The gap's just grown a little bit between Bart Horston and Mikhail Makesh now in cars 50 and 47 respectively. They're 5th and 6th. Last lap times, yes, they were quicker than 3rd and 4th. They did a 154.3 for Horston, 154.4 for Makesh, and they can see them getting closer and closer. So on that lap, they were over a second quicker than Stegman and Heffler, who fought each other and held each other up. 1.1 seconds quicker. Did that again, and they'll be right with them, and we will have that four-way fight for the final spot on the podium. So all looks settled at the front of the field, but we've got 4 drivers all trying to join the top 2 on the podium here, and a big battle coming up because now they are holding each other up again. And look, Horston and Makesh have absolutely joined the party here. Remember, Lawrence Stegman, who's at the head of the group, is the leader of the rookie standings as well. So he's got that on his mind. And the car that's 2 positions behind him, the white, yellow and red machine of number 50, Bart Horston, is his nearest rival in the rookie championship. And the car behind him, number 47, Mikhail Makesh, is driver 3rd in the rookie championship, as halfway alongside here gets Robert Heffler, but to no avail. Good defensive driving this from Lawrence Stegman. He's doing just enough to keep them at bay, but he's not over-defending. He's not costing himself any time coming out of the corners. Braking where he needs to, putting the car exactly where he needs to put it, but he's not over-defending. He's not blocking, and he's crucially getting good speed coming out of the corners as well. But he's going to have to do this a lot more for the last portion of this race, and he's going to have to defend against not 1, not 2, but 3 drivers. So Lawrence Stegman, a 19-year-old from Trier, who was the Porsche Sports Cup champion of Germany last year, with his mirrors absolutely full here of Heffler, Horston and Makesh, who's again flashing his lights. Proper touring car trick that, to try and distract the driver ahead, catch their attention in the mirror, make them miss the braking point or the turning point for the next corner. But for now it hasn't really worked, although he's almost alongside Bart Horston in the background. Not quite to be though. Race leader is now 4.7 seconds clear. So Osten on course for his 4th victory. There he is, there's the gap. And Maxime Osten absolutely nailing this race so far. Executed practice perfectly, did just enough to get his eye in, get the fastest lap in practice, but save his tyres as Heffler looks at the inside of Stegman. Stegman has to come across to defend the line, and then you got Bart Horston trying to go around the outside. They all get on the gas, watching it all go on. Just behind is the 4th car in this train, number 47, Makesh, is not quite close enough to launch an attack, but maybe deliberately so, because if the top 3 hold each other up, he might just be able to pick 2 or 3 places up here. So continue to fight. Continue, though, to put the car in exactly the right position is Lawrence Stegman, doing a fantastic job of defending. But lap times are going to go out the window now, because he's not going to be able to leave the door open into any corner. As making his way out the Sachs Curve is the race leader, Maxime Oosten, the 18-year-old. Only started karting a few years ago when he was 15. His racing hero is Lando Norris. And he also competes this year in the BMW M2 CS Racing Cup, which have 450 brake horsepower machines, but different brakes, different tyres, very different cars to the ones we have here. He was 8th in the championship last year, despite only doing half of the rounds. And he is right in the hunt for the 2022 championship fight now. If he can get this win, as way out wide goes Robert Heffler, takes out one of the marker boards, loses traction, and he's surely going to lose a place here to number 50, Bart Horston, will just drive up the inside of him on the way into turn 1 and get that place away. So a costly moment there for Heffler, drops a place down to 5th position. So that will give Stegman an even bigger, albeit still a pretty small advantage in the battle for 3rd place in the championship table. Only 1 point, remember, between the pair of them at the start of this, but Stegman is currently in 3rd place. And now down to 5th place is Heffler. Stegman had a 1 point advantage coming into this, and that is now going to grow a little bit more. He'll get 16 points, 4 more if it stays like this than Heffler. So 5 between them, which is still pretty minimal with 2 races to go, and that qualifying session as well. And a bit of contact there, a lot of contact. Horston sent into a spin, coming out of the hairpin. Heffler was trying to get as close as he could, but he got a bit too close. Horston sent round into a spin, which is really unfortunate for him. Mikeshler has now got himself right onto the tail of the 53 car of Heffler. He's going to try and pounce, but there's no way through down the inside, and he won't be able to do so there. Bart Horston, hopefully from his point of view, has been able to recover and get going again. But a dramatic moment there, and Mikesh still trying to come at him. And look at the gap that this is now given to Lawrence Stegman. They were 4 together a lap and a half ago. Now he's absolutely miles clear. Mikesh has got the inside line and goes through in the 47 car. So Heffler gains 1 and loses 1. Gains the place after sending Horston into a spin, loses 1. As 3 corners later, Mikesh gets through. So Mikesh now up to 4th place. And doing a really nice job in this race. Picked his moments well as Mikesh. Remember, no running in free practice this morning and having to work his way through in the 47 car from the 4th row of the grid. Started 7th in this race. He's now up to 4th place. They flash through into the final 3 minutes on the clock, plus 1 lap. Remember, in this 30-minute plus 1 lap race. Replay here of the moment that sort of triggered it all, really, which is what brought them all onto him a lap ago when Heffler ran wide coming out of the final turn. That brought Horston onto him, and then Horston was able to get past him on the way into the next corner, and that was why the 50 car was ahead, trying to get the place back down at the hairpin then, not on the way in, but on the way out of the corner. Gets as close as he can. Horston did go a bit wide there, so trying to get up the inside, just clipping the right rear corner, and that was enough to send Horston into a spin, and he'd be absolutely gutted about that, having up to that point enjoyed a very good race. He's rejoined back in 9th position, Bart Horston, so he's not much time to try and find a way back through the order either. So Horston, well, how far is he behind Muller? He's 4 seconds behind the next car up the road. 6.3 seconds clear is that man, number 54, Maxime Oosten, the race leader, looking for his 4th win of the season. Fabian Crime there, about to see his championship lead halved, scoring 3 fewer points than his rival in this race, with a 6-point lead coming into it. And 99 Stegman on course for a podium. It looked like it was going to be a really tough end to the race for Lawrence Stegman. He had 3 cars queued up behind him, but that activity between Heffler and Horston 2 laps ago really allowed him to get away. So it should be a pretty smooth run to the flag now for 3rd place for Stegman. He's about 2.2 seconds clear of Mikesh, and because Mikesh got held up on the previous lap trying to gain a place. So even if he's a bit slower, I don't think Mikesh is going to be able to catch him up here. Nittel, number 7, is in 6th place. Bunninghausen, the guest driver, is 7th. Muller, number 22, is 8th. Horston, number 50, is currently running in 9th place. So this is 7th and 8th, Bunninghausen and Muller. Horston behind them by about 3 seconds. Senna van Solen in 10th place is about 5.8 seconds behind the 50 car, which is just in the background there of Bart Horston. So that's your top 10. Alessia Kreutzpointner in 11th. Sean Fuster has had a visit to the pits, but he's still doing okay in 12th place. Aaron Venish in 13th, and another of the guest drivers, Patricia Stalidzan, is the last of the runners at the moment, number 17 in 14th place. We've lost Jacqueline Kreutzpointner early on in the race. We lost Leighton Fourie, and we lost Yano Dow in the 14 car. 3 that have retired early on in the race. Clock about to tick down to 0 then on this lap, so when they get to the line, there'll be one more lap to go at the end of this for Maxime Osten, who's just at the absolute best middle sector. So despite the fact that the tyres have been used for half an hour of racing now, 15 laps of racing, still absolutely flying, the race leader. Coming into the stadium section for the penultimate time. The clock has ticked down to 0 now, so just one lap and one corner to go. The perfect start for the weekend here, and this additional race, this what's become the 10th race of the championship season. 12 races there will be in the season, with one tomorrow and one on Sunday, and then we'll know who is the 2022 BMW M2 Cup champion. But I've got a feeling we're not going to know until right at the end of the championship, given how close it is. Osten, though, in control on Friday, hence himself onto this final lap of the race, 7.5 seconds clear. It's just on a 1:53.788. He's still the quickest man on track, even though he doesn't really need to push. And then we've got 1:54.860. Still pretty rapid for Fabian Krajm, quicker than those behind, but nowhere near as quick as the race leader. Stegman, Nakesh, Heffler and Nittel rounding out the top 6. And there, a very frustrated Bart Horston in the background in the 50 car. It was quick, 1:54.9, but too far back to catch anybody up now. Still, we've got this battle going on for 7th place between Bonighausen and Muller. Bonighausen won't score points for 7th because he's a guest driver. So Muller, even if he overtakes him, won't actually gain any more championship points, because he's going to get those points for 7th anyway, with Bonighausen able to score the result, but not the championship points that come with it. But nonetheless, he's going to have a go anyway, isn't he, the 22 car? And Muller, who was in the wars at the start of the race, but the car has held up, and he certainly had plenty of pace in this race. He's pulled off some nice moves. Way out wide goes Bonighausen, and that's going to be the opportunity, the gift on this final lap of the race to number 22, as Muller is going to gain that place. He's got his nose in front. He's just got to make the corners, almost contact between them, as Bonighausen tries to squeeze Muller, but Muller is through, and he's in 7th place now. But it's almost home and dry for Maxime Osten, who is about to pick up an absolutely crucial 20 points plus. It should be the point for the fastest lap of the race to close the gap at the top of the championship table, provisionally to just 3 points. The checkered flag awaits, and it's another victory this season for Maxime Osten. It's his 2nd win on the bounce, and his 3rd win in the last 4 races, if you go back to Spa-Francorchamps. 2nd place, the best of the rest for Fabian Krajm. He will still be the championship leader, but only just. And it's going to be pretty tight for 3rd in the end, because Makesh has got through ahead of Stegman and gets through and gets the podium right at the end of the race. Makesh ahead of Stegman by 0.3 of a second. Got him there right at the end of the race on the final lap. It didn't look like he was going to be able to catch. I think with 2 laps to go, he was 2.2 seconds behind. So a great drive from 7th to 3rd for Makesh. Pulled off some nice moves as well, and especially given the fact that he missed the practice session with that differential problem. Really good drive by the Czech. So it is 3rd place for him. Stegman in 4th place, but he does still, by a couple of points, outscore his nearest rival in the standings, Robert Heffler, who finished in 5th place. So he'll get the gap out at the top of the in the battle for 3rd place from 1 point to potentially just 3, but only 3. And then Tom Nittel has just been moved up the order to 5th place. A couple of things under investigation in the race that will be looked at. Muller got a warning for track limits on that final lap of the race. And Robert Heffler has dropped off the timing screen. It looks like he's been given a penalty late on, so he's dropped down to 13th place. On the timing screen. So over the line, as it says on the graphic there, he crossed the line in 5th place, but on the official timing screen in the commentary box, he's been pushed down to 13th place. So it looks potentially like he's picked up a penalty there, which is possibly for the incident earlier on. So we'll get confirmation of that, but it could be for the Bart Horston incident that he's been given a time penalty or track limits. But officially, Osten and Crime, the top two. Makesh third, Stegman fourth. Tom Nitella's moved up to fifth. Muller up to sixth. Boninghausen up to seventh. Horston up to eighth. Van Solen to ninth. And Alicia Kreutzpointner moves up to 10th. Fuster, despite the pit stop and the problem, 11th. Venish 12th. And Heffler pushed down to 13th, with Stalitsan in 14th place as the other finisher. The fastest lap of the race, a 1:53.642, and that bonus point for the fastest lap, which could just be crucial with it being so close, goes to the race winner, Maxime Osten, there in the number 54 car. So that is not 4 wins, that's 6 wins this season. He's had more than Fabian Crime. Fabian's had a bit more in terms of consistency and podium finishes, with 6 wins now, 1 second place finish. Maxime Osten right on the tail of Fabian Crime at the top of the championship. Fabian's had 3 wins, he's had 3 seconds now, and he's had 3 third place finishes. There he comes into the winner's area in the 43 car, and great drive from Makesh as well to get that podium finish, and that's his second podium of the season, finishing in 3rd place a couple of weekends ago at Spa-Francorchamps in race 2. So they're the top 3, make it back. But to get the first podium presentation of the weekend, and clenching his fist as he gets out of the car, is your race winner Maxime Osten. After a terrific drive, a dominant drive really, was patient for the first couple of laps of the race, then picked his moment on lap 3, having sized up his opponent coming out of the hairpin a previous lap. He out-accelerated Fabian Crime and got the job done on the way into turn 7. So celebrations for Maxime Osten. He's got his tail up at the moment, 2 wins on the bounce. But always there, always picking up the points is Fabian Crime. That is his 7th podium on the trot. So 7 back-to-back podiums for Fabian Crime. But he could do with a win this weekend. And he could do with finding a bit of pace, because Maxime Osten absolutely flying in that one. 9 seconds his margin of victory, which is pretty huge in terms of the BMW M2 Cup. So there'll be some head scratching for Fabian Crime to try and find that bit more pace. He's got everybody else sorted, but what could he do about this man? 6 fingers held aloft, 6 race wins, and the momentum is with him. But anything can happen in motorsport. It's oh so close in the BMW M2 Cup that you never take anything for granted. But what we do know is that this championship fight is going to go all the way down to the wire. And you can see the delight, the joy, and even a little bit of relief on the eyes of your race winner there. Well, very, very happy Michael Makesh. I spoke to him this morning after free practice here at Hockenheim. Really nice chap, and he remained upbeat despite that problem in free practice. There, the bespectacled Fabian Crime, the championship leader by the narrowest of margins now on the 2nd step of the podium. Maxime Osten is putting big pressure on him. Good fair racing between the pair of them once again. It's a joy to watch. And we'll now get the national anthem of your race winner, the Dutch national anthem for Maxime Osten. All smiles on the podium then, after another very proud moment for Maxime Osten, the race winner, and now hot on the heels of the man to his left, the championship leader Fabian Crime. As if he wasn't close enough already, it is even closer now. So trophies being presented. I think the happiest man on the podium, he's almost the one of the lowest step, Michael Makesh, and it's because it was such a good drive from 7th place and the way in which he got that That move done on the very last lap of the race. That will almost feel like a victory. Great drive from Michael Marquez to pick up his second podium of the season. Second place trophy goes to Fabian Crime. Bit of thinking to do overnight for him, but don't rule him out yet. Long way to go. 2 races, and they've still got coming up qualifying as well. So a busy day for them, but the winner's trophy going to Maxime Osten. Number 1, it says. Can he be number 1 in the championship at the end of this weekend at Hockenheim? They all make their way onto the top step of the podium for photos. Champagne will be sprayed, but he won't be drunk because they've got to get back in the cars in the not too distant future to qualify for tomorrow's race. And it's slightly topsy-turvy timetable that we've got this weekend due to the weather conditions that we had at the Red Bull Ring 2 Sundays ago. They're still going to go for the champagne spray, though, despite the fact they're going to get back in the cars later on. So the champagne is sprayed here at Hockenheim. The victor is Maxime Osten with his 6th win of the season. And the championship looks like it's going to go right down to the wire. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage from the Hockenheim Ring. From me, Chris Hartley, and the rest of the team, thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.